Okay, we'll get started here in a minute. Just waiting for Commissioner Netherland to log back in. We'll get underway.
Sorry, I was watching you guys.
Oh yeah,
So
all
glad
good.
you said something. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to come out of our closed session and move into open session and begin with support services and turn it over to Mark.
Thank you, Commissioner Shooty. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So got a full agenda here for you, trying to wrap everything up into the last few briefings that we got. Diane's going to start off with our briefing schedule. So go for it, Diane.
Good morning. It's just a reminder of our briefing schedule in the first of the year. In January and February, we only have 2 briefing Mondays due to holidays and then commissioner schedules. So we'll have our next briefing after today will be January 9th. And then we won't have one again until January 30th. And then in February, we have February 6th and 27th. So just a reminder to everyone of the limited briefing.
Are you going to put together a calendar for us so I could get all that in my phone? It comes up naturally every single week twice because for some reason things don't. Once you put it in there, it never goes away. So I have to.
Yeah, we'll go and we'll clean it up for you, Commissioner.
I've been hearing that for about 7 years, and it still stays. EDC, I have 4 of them that come up for the EDC.
Okay. Well, that one's from them. I don't know why is that.
Yeah.
I can make sure the right commission schedule's on there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gotten similar problems on mine, Commissioner Netherland, and I found that when you actually open up the notification where it says the meeting was canceled, if you say remove from my calendar, then it removes it. Otherwise, it still reminds me that there was a meeting that was scheduled here, but now it's canceled. So,
Is this an Android thing or
probably?
Oh, do you have Apple?
Oh yeah, isn't that the only kind out there?
Oh, I'm Android.
Oh,
Android all the way, man.
Yeah.
we had no choice in that matter for our county phones, but
My whole family, I buy Apple for all of them, but theirs is always breaking down or something's happening. I don't usually have issues except for calendar.
I think it comes down to operator error on a lot of it.
I agree with that. I can't hardly operate their phones, so.
Okay.
feels
Thank
like
you.
we're going to have to agree to disagree on that, Diane.
all right. How about the 23 levy certification, Jen?
Yes, good morning, commissioners. So I have a request to recertify to the county assessor the amount of taxes levied for county purposes and the amount of taxes levied for road and I should have put current expense for 2023. And this is due to a reduced levy request from the Shelton School District number 309. So this request came from through the assessor's office, and they are saying that this is okay because we meet the following criteria. The new levy request is less than the original request from the Shelton School District. The levy amount is recertified on or before the earlier of January 15th, and the local government in its discretion allows taxing districts to recertify after the applicable deadline in RCW 84.52.070, which is December 1st. So I would recommend that we revise or replace resolution 2022-084. This has all been ran through Tim Whitehead as well. And this would just replace that resolution to certify property taxes for collection in 2023. So any questions on that?
Nope, sounds good.
I'm
Great,
supportive.
Okay. So the next thing that I have is funding from the Treasury. And this is, it's called Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund, or LATCF as an acronym. And this funding, and I put in the briefing document that it's 397,884.65, and it's actually times 2 because we receive that amount in 2 different allocations. So this funding is from the Treasury, like I said, and it provides $2 billion to eligible tribal governments and eligible revenue sharing counties, which is what we are, as a general revenue enhancement program. And so it's a very broad use of funds. We can use this for any government purpose other than lobbying activities. And so if you commissioners are okay with us applying for this funding, we would receive the first round of funding within 4 to 5 days is what the Treasury said of applying for it. And then the second round sometime next year. So I would definitely recommend taking advantage of this. We can hang on to this money for as many years as we would like and just report when we end up using it, which is kind of odd as well. There's no deadline for the use. So any questions on this?
Yeah, that scares me, but I understand that. So there's no underlying requirement that is be spent anywhere specific within a framework?
No, it's very, very broad. And even like Davis-Bacon doesn't apply to this funding. We can do pooling with other governments if we would like. We can use it for match, which is really odd. We can use it for federal program match, which is kind of unheard of. I mean, at first I thought, oh, this is kind of too good to be true. Do we want to touch this? But I mean, I don't see why we would not take advantage of this funding.
And it goes to us and not the tribes?
Yes, it goes to us and not the tribes, which when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, this will be a pass through to the tribes, but I do not see anything that states that this funding would have to be allocated to the tribe.
Well, do the tribes get their own monies through this program?
That's my understanding. So of this $2 billion, 750 million goes to counties, the eligible revenue sharing counties, and it's the formula for how the feds figured out how much each county is getting is based on several different factors, but one of them is to determine eligibility. They looked at the PILT program and considered the counties that were part of the PILT program. And then looking at the average household income, I believe was part of the criteria. So yeah,
They're listed down there 1 through 11. And the PILT is the payment in lieu of tax. So
yes.
federal lands within Mason County.
That's why I'm wondering if we're getting this because of some provisions where the tribe get it, such as they don't pay taxes to the county on their land. If that's what this is, I don't know. I'm looking it up now.
So this was part of ARPA? This was the same legislation?
It is the same legislation as ARPA, but it's like a subset of.
Yeah, different
ARPA.
program, right?
Right, but it's in the same legislation. That's where.
Yes.
I think this is the one that they took aside and they were trying to figure out what to do with it because the language, I think in the beginning, if I'm understanding it, was not real clear, or the reasoning behind it was not real clear. So I think this is that one that they kind of held back. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, I certainly would support taking it and then continuing to kind of figure out the program and what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very broad, so we can, and we have time to figure out what we want to use it for. So if it's okay with you, commissioners, I would like this to go on tomorrow's agenda for approval, and I'll go in and request the funding from the Treasury.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks, Jen. So moving on to Miss Mary.
Good morning.
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 Got quite a few items this morning. Feel very high maintenance these days. So we need to, before you, I have an extension of the temporary promotion of Corrections Support Officer Brad McQuaid. He's been handling our ASU program and providing us coordinator since August 8th, when his duties began. And we're currently looking for an extension from December 16th through March 16th at the same range so that we can continue to keep this program running. And the chief Hanson over at the jail is very supportive of this, and they still have that void and have not been able to fill it. And they want to, it's very important to them to keep this program running. So this would just be another 3-month extension, and then we can review again.
Sounds good.
Agree.
Good with me.
Okay. So the next one, pretty exciting. We'd like to get your signature on the Engineers Guild, the January 2022 to December 2026 collective bargaining agreement. We had obviously the exclusive representatives for both groups were at the table. We've reached a tentative agreement for this term. Definitely a really collaborative process. Enjoyed working with them and would like to move this forward for approval at tomorrow's action agenda to implement before the end of the year.
Great. Yes.
Absolutely. Good with me.
Yep.
The next item is actually, we need to change this, and I apologize. There was a little bit of clerical difficulty last week on our side. So this is a different item, and I can screen share if you'd like to see the MOU that we're going to be proposing instead. This bargaining agreement is not all the way finished. And so instead, I would like to substitute the collective bargaining agreement with what we're calling a bridge MOU. And this would help address the gap between the signing of the contract, which we cannot get done until January 3rd of 2023. But we also have some holidays coming up and want to, try to support corrections staff through the changes that they'll be receiving as part of the new agreement. So this MOU would apply to shift differential and holiday pay as set out in the TA mediation agreements from December 2nd. Because currently it says upon, signing by both parties, and we won't be able to get this signed before this would potentially take effect. So this will just get us through that time period. Like it says here, it's just taking into consideration the time needed to get this done on the clerical side. And, we're entering into it with the understanding that it's, mediated. The mediated document from December 2nd, we'll attach that as Exhibit A, and that this is only through January 5th of 2023, and this MOU will expire, and the execution of the new agreement should take place January 3rd, if approved by the board.
Sounds good to me.
I'm in favor.
I am as well.
Okay, so I apologize for that change. And then the next item is actually from Becky Rogers, and I'm going to brief for her because she's out. This would be the reappointment of Bill Kendrick to Mason County Civil Service Commission. I believe his application is attached, redacted. News release was circulated November 22nd, and the first review date was December 9th. And this would be for a 6-year term ending December 31 of 2028.
I support.
I do as well. I think you got 3 yeses. Right, Commissioner? Okay.
And I think that's all I've got this morning. That wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be.
Does any of this need to go on the agenda for tomorrow?
Yes, please.
So the CBA, the MOU, and the civil service appointment?
And the ASU coordinator continuation for another 3 months. Yes.
Okay. So everything Mary briefed.
There's so much signing to do tomorrow, if approved.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So our next item is John going to give us an update on the Foothills Dog Park project.
Good morning, commissioners. Happy holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
In the latter part of September 2022, William Long, the Secretary Treasurer for the Friends of Lake Cushman Dog Park, approached Mason County Parks and Trails, presenting a proposal to place an enclosed dog run at Foothills Park. The group had $9,235 to donate towards the project. The proposal was brought to the commissioners, which you folks agreed to look at. The total cost at the time was $18,000, which would have been our split, it being $8,765. In addition, the group would partner with Mason County Parks and Trails to maintain the enclosure. Additional quotes were needed, which are attached to this, with the top one being the least expensive for the bid being $15,919.68. The Friends of Lake Cushman Dog Park had $9,235, which lowers the initial projection for Mason County to $6,684.68. In addition, a question was raised Friday about the volunteering of a person for a one day who is not a member, if they would have to be required to complete the membership requirements, which is the application and the background check. This scenario is not in our program guide, but could be addressed by allowing a person to volunteer for a single day who would be required to work directly with a fully vetted program member and sign a waiver of liability if the commission would be agreeable to adding this to the program. And we would like to add this on to tomorrow's agenda.
You know, commissioners, Diane's going to stone us when we leave our offices with all this stuff we're putting on there. Or Mackenzie, I'm in between both of them. Or actually, Commissioner Shu, you are. I want to say I'm good with that and setting it that way. This is a great example of something that I've been talking about for a long time with state, how it'd be nice if the counties were willing to pony up some money to show how important it is, a larger percentage that they ought to move it up the chain of what should be funded because we find it important. Those citizens out there did it to show us how important it was and raising all that money to do it. I'm so happy that we've decided to do this. I hope this works as an example for every part of our county, that if they're going to go and do all that work, that we would listen to them and hopefully try to help them make it happen.
I think it's a pretty cool idea, and I'm glad that they came forward and presented it. You know, good job, Bill, and the group for doing this. So support it.
Yeah, 100% support both, John. Just to echo that appreciation for Bill and his group and our staff's ability and willingness to work with them on getting this project moving. Great job.
That's all I have.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. So next item I've got for you is, you guys thought elections were over, but they're not. We get to actually vote on candidates for county representative on the Board of Natural Resources. So the ballots must be turned into WSAC no later than 5 p.m. on December 28th. So hence I'm bringing this forward for the board to look at. We have 3 candidates that are out there, and attached in your materials, you'll see the actual ballot. This individual will represent counties on the Department of Natural Resources Board. So we have Commissioner, there's a Heidi, a Lisa, and a Lindsay. So haven't done this before with the board, so I don't know if you all have know any of these 3 individuals and would like to maybe do a little bit of a campaign speech for one of them. So Commissioner Trask, I know you've been involved on this. Do you have knowledge of these candidates?
I do. All 3 are great folks, and I think they bring, you know, something unique to, or they would bring something unique to the board. That being said, I would cast my vote for Lisa Janicki. She has, well, this is what her family has done for years. And so she's got great knowledge as far as forestry goes. So I would support Lisa Janicki.
What county was she, Commissioner?
She is, oh, I knew you'd ask me that.
Skagit.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one that you gave our phone number and talked to. She said the key word for me, sovereignty. Sovereignty of our county. So you having her call me, I think, was a good move. When she said those words, she had me 100%. So I'm in favor of the same person, and I think it may even be for the same reason.
Yeah, I'm supportive of Commissioner Janicki as well. She has a ton of really good experience in this area, but also she's a seasoned commissioner and has been a really good partner at Wasac. And so based on Commissioner Trask's recommendation, I'm supportive of that as well. And also just appreciate Commissioner Peach from Clallan County for having served on this Natural Resources Board for so long that this is the first time we've had to vote on this. So appreciate his service there. And of course, Commissioners Eisenhower and Pollock for stepping up as well. I think any of the three will do a great job if they're chosen, but I'm comfortable moving forward with Commissioner Janicki.
Great.
I did notice Diane had her hand raised there briefly. Do you want to talk us into or
No,
out
she
of
was picking up the rock to stone us. That's what that was.
No, I'm good. I talked to John. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so that's easy, and we will go ahead and get that ballot filled out. And what this means is that Mason County's vote will be one full vote for Lisa Janicki.
Excellent.
Great.
So the next item that I have on the list is a review of the documents that I signed in 2022. So back in early 2022, Diane helped me put together some items that the county administrator position could act on throughout the year. The board would give me authority to sign off on certain things, and Mackenzie actually kept track of all of those items. So hopefully in your packet you have a spreadsheet list of all the different things that I signed, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to look through those. Would be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have on any of the documents that I signed.
I think this is a really, I appreciate you putting this together. This wasn't even something that I was looking for or thinking that we needed, but I think it's a really great snapshot of, just the authorities that we've given you in terms of executing work on based on our decision making. But it's a really well done spreadsheet, I think, and gives us a great picture of all the things that we worked on this year. So appreciate it.
I think it's great. I love it. I love the direction that Mason County is going, and I think it's I don't know, it's exciting to me to see the change really is acceptable and kind of easy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you really goes to Mackenzie. She did the job of tracking all this stuff. So I really appreciate her help in doing this, and we will continue to do this into 2023 just to kind of make sure that the board is aware of the things, and we give you little reminders about the things that you've authorized me to sign for. This does not include things in the sense that if we had a budgeted position that became vacant, then I give approval to do those. So it does represent some major contracts that I've signed, but does not represent all the different decisions and authorities that you've given me, which I believe, and talking with my directors, believe that it has streamlined the process a little bit. So when we have a vacancy that's a budgeted position, as an example, we can get that out on the street as soon as possible and start recruiting for the next person that could fill that position. So the little things like that definitely, I believe, have helped out in the process and really streamlined what our operations are able to do.
It's funny you bring that up. It just hit me the other night. I was wondering why we do some of the things we do like that. And then I got reminded, we had a hiring freeze because we had no money. We were down to 175,000. We had a hiring freeze. So there were times where we were buying months, 6 months, 3 months in order to keep the budgets tight. That's why we had done that back then. I had forgotten. Right. I thought I'd share that with the other commissioners.
Well, and I think that in the future, if we ever were to get into a situation where we had to be super conscious about every single decision that we make, then the individual within that sitting at this desk should be aware of that, and they should make that determination to bring those items forward to the commissioners, and really evaluating them for the necessity of filling those positions, as well as the potential financial implications that it could have on the county. So absolutely am supportive of it. Would love to see us continue to move down that road, and that you trust the individual that sits here to make sure and bring back those items that the board really needs to be aware of and make decisions on. And I think we can do a lot of that within these briefings that we have. And if we can brief the board, make sure that all three of you are aware of what's going on, giving me the authority to then make those decisions just helps having us not have to put everything on your regular agenda for Tuesdays. And we only meet, we have 2 regular agendas a month currently. So that can, depending on the time of when an issue comes up, it can push a decision out for a couple of weeks. And sometimes that's a couple of weeks that we wouldn't want to lose.
Well, hopefully we'll never be in that position again. We have more money in the bank, more reserves, more anything than we've ever had in the history of this county. Prepared for this next recession as it comes in. We couldn't be better prepared, because we're on the verge of having too much. As Mark knows, the state doesn't like it at some point. We're in a position where I don't think, unless somebody goes crazy, they'll never be in the position we were in years ago.
Yeah, thank you to all of your separately electeds and your department heads that are doing a really good job of just monitoring their budget and not having frivolous spending and not spending money just because they have it at the end of the year. We saw that in Jen's reports that she had last week when we looked at the amount of money that was budgeted and spent in 2022 but wasn't spent. So congratulations to all of you and our separately electeds for just being frugal with our taxpayers' dollars. I'm sure that people appreciate that. So the next item I have on the list for you is a potential property purchase, 126 Nealon Street property. So this property is actually a warehouse. As the commission may be aware, but the public is not aware, that in April of 2023, our lease is up on the old Mel's building. The Mel's building currently contains some items for the sheriff's office as well as our facility staff. The location of Mel's is nice because it's fairly close to county campus, where the majority of work is done by Kelly and his crew. So we've been looking for alternative space. We did find some alternative space for the sheriff's office, and that's all set up and ready to go. Just need to do some moving of items. But our facility staff is in a position where they need some space to operate out of, and the location of that space is super important to us. The other item that we have is that our coroner's office is currently located in one of our buildings. I think they've been moved around quite a bit from the history that I've been given from Kelly and our current coroner, and so this space that we're looking at is 12,000 square feet of warehouse space. It also has a little office in the front that could be utilized by our coroner, as well as plenty of storage space within the warehouse. That when you kind of think about the work that she and her staff do, it'd be nice to be able to do it in a secure, private location. Oftentimes now, when she's transferring some of her customers into the local funeral home, I mean, it's not really private. So, and with respect for the individuals that we're working with and their families, I think that this will be a great opportunity to provide them with space that will allow Jamie and her staff to really maintain that dignity side of things. So with this, we actually made a full offer on this warehouse piece of property, and there's a couple of stipulations within this. So as part of the offer, we asked that the seller would pay for a commercial appraisal according to Yellow Book standards, which is above and beyond what a normal commercial appraisal is, as well as doing phase 1 environmental inspection of the property, because a lot of the properties located within the Shelton area have had environmental concerns. And if we purchase the building, we don't want to take on environmental liabilities that we're not aware of. So if there's a phase one that's just a general overview where they go in and do some testing and identify any type of environmental hazards that might exist. And the phase two is actually if there are items identified that need additional work done to determine the amount of the word is escaping me. Remediation. Thank you. If there's any remediation that's necessary, then phase two studies would actually identify that. So within this agreement, the seller has asked that the board publicly say that we have made this offer with these stipulations. Now we actually have a couple of outs within the agreement. So if the appraisal comes back less than what we offered on the building, then we have the ability to terminate the agreement. If at the end of the phase 1 and 2 environmental studies, there are items identified that the remediation would be more than we're willing to commit to, then we would also be able to back out at that time. So what I'm asking the board to do is actually bring forward this property purchase sale agreement in your regularly scheduled meeting tomorrow, so that you can approve the purchase of this property with those stipulations that I just mentioned. And Commissioner Netherland, as a real estate guy, if I said something wrong, please correct me.
Nope, you did right and explained it right. We're in a position here, if something bad goes happen for the citizens, we're not going to pay more than it's valued. It's that simple. If there's any issues on the land, we have the right to back out of this. We could also give them the ability, if we choose, to fix it. There's different things we have, but either way, we also sent it to the attorney to make sure that we've left the position, because we usually don't do this till after all this is done. We're doing it early, but by us doing the purchase and sale, we committed to it anyway. That's what we do. We're just solidifying it for them to make them more comfortable before they expend dollars to do what we've agreed to buy.
So my urgency on this request is Mel's lease ends in April. So would love to get through these appraisals and these environmental studies in a timely manner so that we can hopefully close before April and be able to move our facilities guys out of the old Mel's into this new facility.
Something that just hit me. Did we ever find out, because there's somebody in there, what's their lease?
So yeah, I'm not sure about that, Commissioner Netherland.
Can you make a phone call today? That's a big one. If they've got a 5-year lease, we got a problem.
Are you talking which are you talking about, the 126 Neeland?
Yeah, whoever's in there now.
Oh,
That's currently
no, they're done. Yep. So
Okay.
we did. Kelly and I actually stopped by the facility while the individual was there. It was a construction company. Simro, I think, is the name of the construction company. The owner was actually there that day, and so we had a chance to talk to him and visit a little bit about his use of the facility and how it worked for him and his staff. The owner of the building no longer wanted to lease and wanted to sell, and he, at that time, he wasn't ready to purchase, and so he's actually moved out the majority of his equipment to a new location. He has some personal items that are still within the facility, but I'm sure that those will be moved also.
I think it's a good idea.
Great, thank you very much. So without any other questions, I will go ahead and ask Mackenzie to move this forward onto the agenda for tomorrow. And we can get moving on this. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Those are all the items I had for support services.
Tell her to put it on our tab. Just keep it running.
Commissioners on support services, I just have one comment. I did some research while we were talking. You know how we went through all that ARPA money, and it all had reasons for putting it out there with businesses and other things because of COVID. This is exactly the same thing, except for it is specifically for local governments and tribal governments to be used to offset any costs or anything that we want it for, because we didn't take enough for ourselves, is what they're saying. So it literally appears to be as simple as that. It's given to us to conduct business with specifically, and not to give out.
And you're referring to the local assistance and tribal consistency.
Yes, and and it's given to the tribes as a governmental entity, a local governmental entity.
Yeah.
Not that it's not connected with us in any way. We're just one of those local governmental entities that's given the money through ARPA for just conducting business of any type we want to conduct, basically.
Great.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good deal to me. I know that Jen has watched a few videos on it, and she's going to be watching some more just to make sure. But definitely don't want to lose the opportunity to get some of this money from the feds to help us out.
Yeah.
Great.
I did go back and watch it again before the meeting this morning because it does seem too good to be true, but it is anything but lobbying services, it looks like. So.
And I actually was reading the document. I didn't see a video. I just read the document itself for the creation of it. And that's what it's for. Just like what we did for a bunch of other groups through ARPA funds, they're giving it to us to do for us.
Great.
I am sure we can find some great ways to spend it.
Thank you, Jennifer, for finding that.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Commissioner discussion. I had one item that I brought forward. So a couple of weeks ago, commissioners, we had a discussion about short-term rental regulations, and so did a little bit of research and brought forward a couple of examples. One from San Juan County, and I think in there is also included kind of the frequently asked questions portion of their website, and just sort of what they go through to have the regulations on the books up there, as well as then Chelan counties, which was passed relatively recently. Kel also forwarded me, and I didn't have it in time to get in the packet, but code from Grays Harbor County, which recently adopted short-term rental policies as well. And so I can circulate that to you both. And so just really wanted to put this out there as a little bit of some research on options that we might have, and give you some time to review it. Not looking for any kind of action.
Do you have a preference for me to look at on that? The only thing I worry about is there was a city being sued for something, but you know how it is. Somebody always goes too far.
Yeah, so I was going to note that. So Chelan counties is being appealed. San Juan counties has been in effect for quite a while, and has hasn't been challenged or changed due to a challenge. And so Chelan's would be one to watch. It was I had a conversation with some folks up there, and it's it's a group of short-term rental owners who think it's a little too far-reaching, and so we just don't know how that's going to play out yet. So I think both are worth reviewing, as well as, like I said, Grays Harbors. I think there's some good stuff in each of them, and so without wanting to kind of bias your reads of it, I think just kind of go back through, and we can revisit in January once you've had a chance to review it and make some notes on that kind of thing. But yeah, so just wanted to follow that up and keep it on our radar and revisit early next year.
And I will. The truth is, I think we've all made clear we're all in favor of doing something to deal with this situation. I would not be against you taking and cherry picking the pieces you think and copy and paste and putting them together for our own and look at it that way. Mm-hmm. You've been working on this for quite a while. Mm-hmm. If you have things that you think that are extremely broad, I'd rather just look at it from that standpoint.
Well, I like the idea of the task force that was put out there, and then having it go before the planning commission, just for further vetting, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Yeah, all good stuff. And like I said, I'll also I'll take a deeper look at Grays Harbors. Theirs is a little bit different because they're impacted by all the cities that they have, and so those cities have their own kind of individual policies and that kind of thing. So they don't have the amount of short-term rentals in Grays Harbor that we do that are in the unincorporated areas. But it's definitely worth a look there. I think they went through Granicus for their ordinance development. And so there's some options there as well. So, but anyway, just wanted to share this with both of you and give you some additional reading material for over the holidays.
Thank you.
I read it already. Thanks. But I did find it was I think we're kind of unique because we have one incorporated city. And so, I don't know, that's something to keep in mind. I thought it was kind of unique too, with all the islands having their own, which makes sense to me.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and that's San Juan is interesting in that, like I said, they've been dealing with this for a while. You know, and there's just some unique elements to each of the codes, and you know, I mean, San Juan's goes back to 1998, so I mean that obviously predates VRBO and Airbnb, and you know what we kind of associate with short-term rentals now. So I like elements of theirs just because it has been, you know, around for a while, and they've made updates as they've needed to, of course, but it's sort of stood the scrutiny of time, I guess. So, but that doesn't mean that there aren't good things in Chelan counties that we could borrow from as well.
Yeah, and I do think it's worthwhile watching the litigation that's going on also.
For sure. Yep. Okay, well, we can plan to revisit this then early next year and see if we can't get something moving.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Commissioners, anything else for discussion? Okay, great. Next up, we have Dave, Public Health.
Hey, good morning, Commissioners. So just one item today, and this we've discussed recently and numerous times recently, and that's the extension of the amendment with the Squaxin tribe to get us one more year of time to get the data pieces completed for the MOA, and you have with you there the latest language. This language was voted on by the tribe, so the tribe is good with this. So we are the last piece of this. So the changes we talked about have been incorporated, and this will expire on December 31st of 2023.
Okay, I'm supportive, commissioners.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, so if we can get that put on tomorrow's agenda, we'll get that wrapped up.
I know you're pushing it, buddy. Only if Diane says it's okay.
The classic end of the year.
Yeah,
So, okay. Anything else, Dave?
that is it for that. I would, if you don't mind, give a quick update on the tuberculosis.
Sure.
So we did do. I have to shut off my video in order to get my audio to work right. So hold on for here. Here we go.
No.
Okay, so there we go.
Richard, I think Richard, if you mute.
There, maybe that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we did do testing last week. We've tested 44 people last week. And that's with blood draws. We'll have the results of those back this week, Friday of this week. We'll have those test results back. So great turnout. The process went very smooth. We had staff there from Mason Health, from Seattle King County Public Health, and then our own public health folks running it through one very quickly, very smooth, and just a great cooperation from all the parties involved. Once we get those back, we'll send letters out to those, saying whether they're positive or not, with next steps, and then we'll start working our way out from there. So again, we've got 2 people who are still under isolation getting treatment. We've got 2 people who are non-infectious and are no longer under isolation, are getting treated. It's a long treatment process. It can be 3 to 9 months, depending on how they react to the antibiotics. And we are all over it. So the team's done a great job, and there's been a lot of good cooperation with our medical partners.
Great. Commissioners, any questions for Dave on that?
So how are you going to release the information on Friday? I know that's a holiday, and
Well, so we probably actually won't get the results because we're closed on Friday. We are putting together notifications for and then of course the places that we need to notify, they're closed on Friday as well. So these will be all sent out on Tuesday morning with, we're getting all the labels and things pre-done. So all we have to do is put the label on the right letter and send it out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioners, anything for Dave?
Dave, would you, after the meeting, would you give me a call? I'd like to talk to you about Narcan and a widespread effort to fix an issue I have up in North Mason. I just attended a celebration of life and found we have a gaping hole in certain businesses up there. I'd like to work with you on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, commissioners, before we move on to public works? Okay, great.
Let's see if Richard's video or audio works.
Gonna do audio. If I try to do both, I got issues.
It's yours. You are all messed up.
Yeah, it still sounds kind of raspy.
Plug and unplug your if you have a microphone. If not, I don't know. Call in on your phone.
Any better?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for the tip. Still gonna leave the video off, just out of superstition. All right. First step on this, first of all, Loretta is out sick today. And so let's see, we'll go with the first item on the list is our 2023 Kenworth T80 roll-off truck with hook lift replacement. This was something we budgeted for in 2022. We went out early, went to the state bid look. They had a limited number, but they had large orders from bigger places like King County and Pierce County. We were ordering 10 to 15 of these. So we didn't think we were going to be able to get one. They gave us a call. There was a couple of cancellations and there's one available. We still have we've got the money that's in the 2022 budget, but it won't be available until March of 2023. So we'd like to move this money forward and move this to amend the 2023 budget to include this purchase.
Okay, commissioners.
And you said that we have the money?
We definitely do. Yep.
But you were just saying to amend the budget.
Because the 2023 budget doesn't include this, it's only in the 2022 budget. And the purchase won't happen.
Never mind. There she is.
There's no savior.
Go on, Jennifer.
Please make it clear.
So we can add this into the June amendment, if you're okay with it, commissioners, June of 23, since we already adopted.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm in favor of that. In June, I was like, we just literally.
The ink is barely dry.
Yeah.
Like I said, the work starts the next day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
guess what? We don't have to have this on tomorrow's agenda. This one can go in January.
Perfect.
That's
Well,
great.
that's even better.
But that's where that ends.
That's
Now
great.
Diane's gonna get mad. Okay, next on the list is the water sewer utility rate increase for 2023. This is something we briefed on the 5th and the 12th, and we believe we've got it nailed down for what commissioners are expecting or have directed us to. So it basically, we're suspending the current CPIU rate increase set forth in Chapter 13 and making a 1-year adjustment rate of 5% to monthly rates for all county-owned water and sewer systems. Now, there is a budget impact because the 2023 budget was based on the 9.1% increase, and a budget amendment will be necessary sometime in 2023.
Thinking maybe June.
Making June.
Sounds like it, yeah.
I'm getting educated on that. We're looking for June. So there's that. And what I do need to do is have a news briefing for tomorrow's meeting. Diane.
So the news release for tomorrow.
Yep.
Good with me.
Yep.
All right, and let's see. We have another news release that needs to be on tomorrow's agenda because it's the free Christmas tree recycling. It makes sense to have it go out before Christmas.
Excellent. Good with me on that one as well.
Yep, same.
One last item that I don't believe was in your packet that I'd hope you give me the time to talk about is the news release about the hours and days of operations at our solid waste facilities. We've hired we're fully staffed now. We've got that extra booth attendant on shift and getting trained up right now. And we, as we do track all of the daily activities at all of our stations through our Paradigm software. And really what we've noticed is we rarely, on a less than 1% utilization of that first hour of the day. And so what I'd like to do is change our hours of operation to start an hour later and actually increase the number of days we're open. And if you'd like, I could share my screen to show you the proposed changes.
Great.
Historically, the issue was the contractors, as they needed to be able to get out and go to work. They were the first ones there in the morning to do that. What kind of impact is going to be on them?
That was the driver of the last time we changed it. Was they wanted it open earlier in the morning because, well, they had experimented with their own shift changes, and that's no longer the case. They're on board with this. They have no issues. We've talked to all of our staff and gave them proposed schedules to look at and change. I know Mary is been in communication with the union. I don't believe we've heard back from them yet. I think but anyway.
Does this put it back to where it was before we made that adjustment at their request?
Almost. Yeah, almost. With the addition
So it failed. What we did failed. that makes more sense. I'm completely supportive.
Well, let me just share this screen. And let's see. So can you see that?
We can.
Yes.
All right. And at the top, those are the current hours of operation for each facility. It does not show you the days of the week. So
What week would it be?
Well, that was the bigger change. Is Shelton will be open 7 days a week now. Will be, instead of being closed on Sundays, they'll be open on Sundays. Actually, the big change is every station will be open Saturday and Sunday. So no change to Hood Sport. They were open Friday, Saturday, Sunday already. Union was only open Sunday, Monday. They'll be open Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Belfair is actually the only day they're closed is Monday. Will be closed is Monday. And Shelton will be open 7 days per week. And what we're hoping is, what we're really, our biggest issue is on Saturdays. That's the only day a week, most of that the two biggest stations that were open, we'd have a lot. At Shelton, we'd have over 400 customers a day. And that's just, it's crazy. It's dangerous. We get people backed up out to the road most of the day. And so what we're hoping is to even this traffic out, provide a better service for the community. And with those extra people, we're backed up with extra people so we can in case of a closure or vacation, or not a closure, but a sick leave usage, vacation usage, stuff like that. We should be able to keep all stations open without interruption.
Wow, that's awesome. And I've had a lot of people requesting or asking why we're not open on Sundays. So if this will add a little bit of, make it a little bit easier for our attendants and everybody else, then I think it's great.
Well, then let me get ready for some colors. So that's what we're looking at, to show you just how many different people will be where. And I mean, we've got this mapped out for 2 years, that a person, if they know who they are, Kim is on schedule A, shift A for the month of January. Well, she knows where she's at all year long and can plan around it, a rotating schedule, which was not easily done before. And so this is a representation. They've already picked their schedules. They're on board with it. Now we're just making sure the union itself is okay with it. And so anyway, I have another news release that I'd like to do hopefully tomorrow, but if not, I completely understand. I know this is very short notice for everybody.
I'm wondering if we want to wait until the January meeting just so that this can be viewed by the public.
That's completely doable. It won't negatively impact us at all.
So can we post this out on our website as a, you know, there's some new hours coming in January of 23?
Yep.
I think that'd be cool.
Commissioner Allen, anything?
I'd love to get that information out if we're deciding we're doing it, which I think we should. I don't see a downside on this. You know, historically, there was a reason why we made the change, but if they're not showing up, the truth is, it was also because it was closed on Sunday and they would be piled up waiting to come in early in the morning or they couldn't work. So if we're open on Sunday, that alleviates that anyway.
Right. It should ease a lot of those.
Yeah.
Like I said, we look at that. Our data comes in, it timestamps every transaction, so we know there's really nothing that first hour of the day from 7 to 8.
Interesting. It was such a big uproar at the time, I remember, but
yeah, believe me, it was like, I was like, what? And then we had to change the schedule and act fast to accommodate, and
yeah,
and that, you know, that's really occurred.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an improvement. I mean, anytime we can get more days of service out to the public, I think that's a good thing. And obviously glad to hear that you're fully staffed and making progress on that side, because that's the key. You know, being able to retain staff and have those positions filled are allowing us to be able to more predictably provide that service to the public. So I have no issues with the proposal. I think it's great. I mean, if the consensus is to wait and roll this in January, that's fine with me, but I don't see any downside to putting it out now and letting the public know that they'll have increased access to the transfer stations come the new year.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can't see why anybody would complain with more hours and
Good luck on that.
Wait,
so if we want to put it on for tomorrow.
direction I could do, we could start this, implement it at the first of the year. We could implement it midway through January. I'm open. Whatever the commission gives me direction on.
I think my preference would be to do the release tomorrow and start off the new year with the schedule that you've designed.
I'm good with that.
Same here. You don't need us to approve anything, do you?
No, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I believe it's just professional courtesy.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm good adding that tomorrow. Commissioners, all good?
Yep.
All right, you'll get that over to Mackenzie Richard?
Okay, yep, we'll do. That's all I got.
So really quick, I'm sorry, we have not heard back from the union yet. So if we could just hold off for maybe a day or two and give me one more opportunity to reach out to them, I'd rather be ultra safe and collaborative if possible.
I support you, Mary, on that. If you're
Yeah.
telling us, HR, that we need to slow roll, it's time to slow roll.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep, I'm fine.
And I can make a phone call and get an answer in the next 15, 20 minutes. I did email them again and I emailed them Friday and I just haven't heard back yet.
Well, if you get an answer, we'll continue forward. If something happens, let us know because we can pull it.
Okay.
None of us want to get you in the middle of a battle
Nope.
that isn't necessary.
Well, I don't want to slow it for the residents either. I know they need the service, so I'll get on the phone right now.
Thank you.
So if Mary is able to get confirmation from the union and that they're okay with this, we're going to go ahead and move forward on tomorrow's agenda.
Yeah.
If not, then we'll wait until we get that.
perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Richard.
Anything for Richard, Commissioner?
No, big thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, that's all we had. Any other discussion?
Yeah, if you can, I want to go back to your vacation rental by owner and the concept of it. I've been reading through all this. The San Juan one is beautiful. It's missing a few things, but I like the way they did it. I'm not so concerned about the limit to limit a number, which they put a lot of effort into, but the other stuff that they were establishing is key. And if it's already been proven that it's not challenged for any of that, I'd like to see us consider, however we do it, we go through our planning commission and the like, adding some other specific verbiage that make sure that so many per septic things on the beach, issues with the beach and stuff like that, because everything's set up for us, of course. But I'd like to see an actual implementation of the licensing with warnings at some point, fine at another, and revocation of the license, and an extensive fine if they open and do business outside of being licensed. That and utilizing the money that is taken from that for code enforcement, that would do regular code enforcement and also enforce this regulation, because it's one thing to create regulation, it's a whole nother thing to actually get it enforced. But if we were to utilize that money for that purpose, I'd go a long ways, and we also get an extra benefit in some of the other things for code enforcement. But I very much like what San Juan County did.
Yeah, no, they've definitely been at it for a while, so they have a pretty good handle on things, I think. So, okay, I appreciate that feedback. Okay, all right, Commissioners, if there's nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
The second that we adjourn, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning.
All right, see you tomorrow.